Hello, welcome to Talent Tip Tuesday. My name is Andrea Ross, founder of the Career Establishment. We're a team building, leadership development, strengths executive coaching and e-learning business that predominantly focuses on the recruitment sector. Now, we're based in Singapore and we service clients globally, and our Talent Tip Tuesday series this quarter is providing you with tips and techniques on how to tackle a variety of topics within the recruitment sector. So for the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to be sharing with you some experience and some tips on 5 things to consider when interviewing a senior candidate. And over the next few weeks, there'll be a whole host of topics that I will be talking about, and I really highly encourage you to be emailing us, contacting us at the Career Establishment, details to follow later, on any other sort of topics that you'd like us to address. So let's get going. Now, I picked this topic. I reached out to a number of recruitment consultants just to find out what kind of areas that they were struggling with at the moment. And one of them was, what are the things to consider when interviewing a senior candidate? And I thought it would be a really good idea just to spend 10 minutes or so just going over that with you. So there is sometimes a tendency to sometimes focus all efforts on clients. So breaking into new accounts to pick up new roles or digging a bit deeper into an existing client base is something we tend to do. But as we all know, the most important product we have as recruiters is our candidates. So we asked a few recruiters on this topic, and that's why I decided to tackle it today. So candidates, especially the senior ones, can be clients, right? So we know that. So we have to be able to give real exceptional service. And this is really important to remember. That level of service that you should be providing to a senior candidate has to be second to none. That's not saying that you don't do that now. Because obviously I know that you will be doing exceptional service, but what I mean here is that interaction, that impression that you give to the candidate will affect how they also view you as a future partner. Because if they're a senior candidate, they will either they may actually be a client or been a client, and in the future they may be a client. So they want to perceive you as, they at times will be putting their hat on and thinking as you as a recruiter for them getting the job, but also how would this recruiter deal with me as a client? Can I trust them to find talent for me in the future? Can they manage the entire recruitment process? Do they ask me the right questions? Do they showcase my skills in the right way? So actually, that service that you give in that candidate interview really does reflect sort of long term on you. So it's a really important thing to be focusing on. The next one I've got is prepare for the interview. Now, I know I just recently, last week, did another Talent Tip Tuesday webinar, and that, I sort of spoke quite a bit about the competency-based interview. So it is still really relevant here in getting that experience in understanding how to prepare for an interview with a senior candidate, prepare competency-based interview questions. You really want to know exactly what their capabilities are, so that when you're presenting them to a client, that you are able to identify exactly their capabilities on specific competencies. Now, it may well be that you're asking them a specific competency on their, maybe it might be, tell me about a time when you performed well under enormous pressure. As you might have a role on with an organisation that you want to spec them to, and they're going through a major takeover, or the pressure's huge. So demonstrating to a client how capable they are at this with specific examples of when that candidate overcame that particular challenge is so more influential than sending a very brief summary of a candidate. Please find attached CV. This is what he was doing. This is what he did on a day-to-day basis. It's just not enough. It doesn't really tell the client exactly how they're going to overcome certain challenges. The preparation of the interview questions, you need to be going into a lot more detail, quite insightful, quite strategic ones. If they're a senior candidate, they probably are looking after people in terms of headcount. So what was their leadership style? What kind of budget were they managing? Did they stay within that budget? If they're IT, what kind of project manager, if they're a project manager or something like that, did they go over it? Did they go under budget? Were they on time, on the deadlines? Another thing is that sometimes with candidates at senior level that don't always sit and think about their achievements. They think about their responsibilities. So again, just making sure that you are digging deeper and asking, what are those accomplishments? And if you notice that on the CV before you meet them, just drop them an email beforehand saying, look, there's just a few things I hadn't quite seen in your CV. If you can have a think about those, so that when we catch up, we can go into them in a little bit more detail, because the achievements, the accomplishments part is the one that you're really selling to clients as well. So that's really, really important. So my advice is get some experience in competency-based interview questions, or even if you've got a senior recruiter that you work with, to be actually seeing how they interview with senior candidates, because it is quite different. It isn't a matter of just going in and seeing how you go. You really do need to make sure that you are studying that CV, and you've got a clear idea of exactly where you want to be sending them and what you want to know about this candidate, what isn't said on the CV. Now, the third one is detailed knowledge of the client base. Now, the detailed knowledge of your client base, structuring, hiring managers, style of leadership, just went to the candidate, detailed knowledge of client base. Okay, so this one is really making sure that you know exactly where you want to send this candidate to. You need to be prepared on that. If this is someone that sits within the pharma area, okay, so which organisations are you thinking of speccing them to, and who? Which contact within those clients, because at that senior level they may well already know them, they may actually know of them, they may have seen them at network events, they might have roundtable events and they're there, and that's fine, because that candidate may well have chosen to go through a recruiter so they can manage that entire process. But your client, you really want to make sure that you are at least giving your candidate that information in regards to, I'd like to talk to you about these specific organisations, and let me explain why. It might be that they're going through, they're always open to looking at good profiles. They're willing to hire people where roles aren't necessarily out there live at the moment. Might be, offering a new service line, etc., etc. So that's really, really important to just prepare where you want to send them, but also be looking at other industry sectors, what's related to pharma. It might be other healthcare or nutrition or chemicals or whatever that might be, FMCG, whatever that might be, and just get an idea of where you want to send them. But also, what do those teams look like that you're looking at taking them to? What's their strategy? What's their mission? What's their values? This is a senior candidate. It's not just going to move for anything. Now, there may be a lot of senior candidates that are on the market at the moment because they've been made redundant or for whatever reason. That doesn't mean that we do not give exceptional service. We have to put ourselves in their shoes. They've got to that senior level experience, and at that senior level, it's more likely that they are probably going to get the job. So it's even more important that we are showing that empathy and vulnerability sometimes when we've got senior candidates that are looking for work. So please bear that in mind. Yeah. Okay, number 4. Oh, this one's going to scare everybody. Connect them to people that you can't. Now, some clients won't work with us as recruiters, right? It might be that they're not on the PSL, they're not able to pay a recruiter fee at the moment, whatever that reason might be, right? But you may know of an organisation that you cannot represent them to for whatever reason, but you know that they could be great for that company. Then let that candidate know. That candidate's only going to get the job there anyway. They'll hear about it from someone else. And how wonderful for that candidate to get that role and say, thank you. You're more likely to have a client for life as a result of actually really caring about their future. I know that there are some great recruiters out there that do that, and I just really want to highly encourage it. I think it's a really great move. Number 5. Offer them advice if they want it. Ask their permission first. I think with senior candidates, sometimes the candidates can be, they might be sort of feel a little bit vulnerable and they won't always ask for help, or they may feel that their CV is fine, or they're a little bit out of practice, maybe a little bit embarrassed. And sometimes you'll see the CVs that aren't necessarily showcasing their skills as good as they should be. So it is sometimes really advisable to say, look, do you mind? Can I give you a little bit of feedback on your CV or your LinkedIn? Because I feel that there's a few things we could probably add to that to really present yourself in a better light. And if they're agreeable to that, then you know, spend some time with them going over that CV. It's not saying you're writing it all for them. I mean, I must admit, I've written so many CVs for people over the years. But, you know, if you've got the time to do that, great. If not, then just point them in the right direction where they can do that, and just get, you know, give them some timelines. You know, could you show that to me in the next couple of days? Forcing them to just take that accountability at updating their LinkedIn or their CV. They also might have psychometric assessments. They might have Belbin or Hogan or Myers-Briggs or Gallup Strengths Clifton assessment. You know, they might have any of these. So ask for them. I mean, if they're at a senior level, they've probably gone through some kind of 360 or a talent assessment. So if they're comfortable sharing with you, and you can you know, reassure them that that's not going to go anywhere without their consent, it's a great way of you getting an idea of, you know, how they think, how they get stuff done, how they influence, how they collaborate. Oh, wonderful. And it's not, you cannot collect that all from just purely a candidate interview questions. You can get that from a lot of the STAR questions, the behavioural based, absolutely, but it's really good to actually have some form of psychometric assessment. That would really, really help for you to really get out the experiences of a candidate. And I think those are my top 5. So I hope that was useful. I hope that when you're interviewing senior candidates that you're able to apply those. I want to thank you for your time, and now you should be able to ready, steady, go and do a great service for senior candidates. I want to encourage everyone to send me your topics at inquiries@thecareerestablishment.com. Send me a lot of them. I want to hear them. I want to help. So if you can just share with me what are the challenges you're facing, I will do my best to try and help you. Please follow us on the Career Establishment on LinkedIn. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and possibly YouTube if you fancy doing that. There's going to be a number of other kind of social media thing. I'm going to be doing Andrea's picks, which I'm going to be picking books and podcasts and articles and fun things that are related, not just to recruitment, but it might be on leadership or women getting ahead, or how to feel more inspired or fulfilled, or how to be more resilient. It's a real mixture of topics, but it will help you to be the best that you can be in your roles. So do check those out, do follow us, and, you know, let's create a bit of a community where we can all help each other be more fulfilled in our lives. So over and out. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day ahead. Good luck.